My name is Harshad Lahoti. Our venture was set up in 2009 and we set up our angel network in 2012. Since we set up, we have done around 10 deal closures on our platform and raised around 14 crores from 400 odd investors that are empaneled. Amongst the highlights, and especially in relevance to the conference that we're having here, two of the deals, Keto and Catapult, were funded at our ventures, where we led the deals to closure. So besides that, we had our very first exit 2 days ago, within 2 years of our investment. And all the investors did a profitable exit.
Hi, my name is Anil. Just before 2 years ago, I was mostly heading organizations, handling global businesses, both from a large-size companies to mid-cap, and for the last 2 years, I've been working mostly with the startups, my own actually. So, as an entrepreneur, I have seen what it takes to build a startup and run a startup, and I also worked on the large companies, see the luxury that they offer us as well. And while in the last decade, I also been an angel investor, investing in a few companies. So having seen both sides, I have closed a few deals in the offline space. But then I realized, it was really painful for me to get a few things done, which otherwise could be done much easily, given that we have a lot of technology solutions which were not there like at least 5 years ago. And we are seeing a lot of companies like Let's Venture, Our Ventures, and a few others in that space, making it a lot more easier. So about 9 months ago, what we were doing a lot more offline, we thought let's put it online for our own internal purposes, and then we started Beehives. So Beehives is actually a crowdfunding platform for equity as well as donation plus rewards. So we started off with equity because that's what we have been doing for internal deals, and then we thought, why don't we just give it for others as well, in case they have similar pains, they can use it. So about 9 months ago, we started the equity part, ported our own data, and then about 3 months ago or so, we, the equity, the crowdfunding part of the thing started. And then the reason for crowdfunding in the donation reward model is being from the south, being a film buff, I thought we should do something in that space, and it's more that's how we were connected. We thought, the extent to which our role was limited to the films was, buying the most premium seat and sitting in a theater. We thought, there should be a much better way to connect the fan base and the industry. So we explored there. We run a couple of experiments. They've been successful. So now we're trying to see how we can get to the next level. Yeah, thank you.
Ramesh, Loganathan. I've been in Hyderabad last 15 years. I came here to run engineering for a startup. So we are one of the, I still consider it one of the better startups from Hyderabad, Pramati. And anyway, so I was there for some years, and then part of Pramati was acquired by Progress. So I kind of started the Progress Hyderabad Labs in 2005 and then grown it in the last 10 years. But that's not the reason I'm here. I'm here because I'm very involved with the startup ecosystem. Started with IIIT. So I've been involved with IIIT startups since 2005. Initially alumni startups, and 2008 the incubator started. So I've been very, very actively engaged in the incubator, informally a lot of time, but also formally. I've been on the executive council and the governing board of the incubator from the time we started. But that's a small part, right? We engage very, very informally, very actively with IIIT. I'm also part of the founding team of Head Start Network, which is a early stage support network that started in 2007 across multiple cities. It's a 16-member founding team, and I'm from Hyderabad. I'm on the founding team, and we do, amongst other things, one of the recurring activities, the monthly Startup Saturday. So between IIIT, Startup Saturday, and a few other events, I meet a lot of startups, early stage startups, especially, because that's my interest. I meet a lot of startups every week. And in fact, I get on Facebook, I get a lot of queries coming in from very, very early idea stage or pre-MVP stage startups asking for inputs. So I kind of see what they do, the struggles they have, especially with funding. So we did, seeing the struggles with the early stage funding, we're actively pushing for seed funds. So I'm very happy to note that in the last 1 year, about nearly 10 structured seed funds have come up in the city, just in the last 1 year. But we have an early stage, as an alternate to the seed funds, we have an instant funding format, which Safir was referring to in the morning as part of the TIE Smash Up event that we've been running for the last 3 years. But instant funding we started about a year back. And so every 3 months or so we are doing where startups come and pitch, and right at the end of the pitch, they know if they're getting the money or not. It's a fixed format, 8%, 10 lakhs, a very early stage again, mostly kind of MVP stage or first prototype stage startups. And so we managed, it's come to a point, last one we did 5 startups were picked out of the 10 for funding. 4 got seed funding and 1 was told that they are ahead of seed funding, they should go for angel funding. And so I spend a lot of time in the early stage space, kind of help them out, connect. Most of what I do is not personally helping, just connecting. We're looking for some connection. It could be connecting to an incubator, connecting to a mentor, somebody from TIE, from Hyderabad Angels. But in that process, I get to know a lot of what's happening in the early stage space. And crowdfunding is a fantastic alternative. Yeah, I mean, seed funding also is a little bit structured, and crowdfunding creates a better alternative to the seed funds. So I'm happy with what you all are doing.
What are the major challenges of startups in Hyderabad, either startups or the ecosystem itself?
In my view, one of the most significant challenge for startups, new founders, is the lack of peer group support. So when you start off, you can't go meet a mentor or an investor or a kind of a successful entrepreneur in your early days, in the early months, or like up until you have at least some traction. Very difficult to get hold of access to formal mentoring. So in most cases, it's a peer group that serves as mentor. Could be friends, families, colleagues, and like, so that's the peer group. And that peer group is very, very poor network today, because most of them are working professionals, maybe in the industry, maybe elsewhere. And nobody has even experience working with products, or most of them, much less working with startups, and don't have a good perspective of a customer, because most often it's pure technology services that we do. And the first person mentoring, lack of first person mentoring is the most significant challenge. It makes the initial days extremely difficult. So there are many things that we're doing, trying to fix that now. It's still tip of the iceberg what we can fix through many activities that we are engaged in. Myself, Srinivas, we're doing many things at Reply TA and elsewhere. But it's barely enough. Not an easy problem to solve. I mean, the only way to solve is like have some 10,000 successful entrepreneurs in the next 3 years. Then yes, you would know somebody in your first person network. In my view, that is the most significant challenge that a startup would face in this city.
Adding to what Ramesh said, what we have seen is, I mean, when a startup is investment ready, I mean, we have seen that we have a bunch of checklists that they need to put in before we can actually place them in front of the investors. But we have realized that, I mean, they can't really put up all the data because they're so, they're so good at putting the A+ team to build a product. I mean, and they're so good at building the team itself and so busy promoting. So they do not value, or probably do not put the time that it requires to, or do not have the experience, rather, I should say, to put up some of these investment-ready profiles. Making them more marketable with the investors, getting them interested. So that's where we help them fine-tune some of the things, make them realize that they should be promoting themselves in a way so that it catches everybody's attention. So that's where, I mean, silly things like grammatical mistakes also happen. I mean, that's like the silliest thing, but just to tell you. So, to that an extent. But I mean, mentorship is definitely, I mean, that is the key. But what we have seen is they do not even know how to approach an investor, because all these investor groups are very closed networks. You don't know where these guys wearing the suits are sitting. You don't have their contact information. You just don't know how to reach them. So that is one of the things. I mean, while they're so focused on promoting the product, they actually have to stall their businesses temporarily to go chase money for the scaling part. So I think that's where a large bandwidth goes for them in going and chasing the money. So that's what we saw was where the business actually slowed down in some cases. So that's where we thought, I mean, we can help cut down the time that it takes for them to get it done. So that's.
I think they haven't met our ventures yet. Where should they meet these startups? So the biggest challenge is to raise money, in my opinion. Startups are finding it very difficult to raise money. I mean, there is lack on certain parts from the startups end, no doubt. But even worthy startups are not getting an opportunity to raise money, and that is because lack of angel investors in India. Our ventures I set up and started essentially, with my partner to, cater to this market in a way that, both me and my partner are entrepreneurs. First, we went out to the market back in 2006-07, trying to raise money when it was very difficult. It seems, as my colleague here said, very difficult to approach these investors. So we said, let's do something differently. Let's be a little more approachable. Let's have an image that is more approachable, and let's really be approachable. So since our venture started, our whole perspective has been to be pro-entrepreneur. We are probably the only angel network in India that is pro-entrepreneur. I mean, not to say we don't look at investor interest, definitely we cater to it, but the plight of entrepreneurs, the way we have seen it ourselves, we are trying to solve that. So the dearth of startup capital in India, by creating angels, what we are trying to do at our ventures, I mean, just to give you an anecdote, let alone US, consider Canada. Population of 35 odd million, there are 3 million angels. 10% of Canada is angels. India, you can barely say 800 odd angels, population 1.25 billion. Now, this is not going to work. There's a big gap here. So we set out to create angels, and that's what the biggest challenge for startups today, even if they're worthy, are not able to find funding. So that's our.
I'd like to be, I have a big passion for crowdfunding, and I'm positively biased. So I'll take so I'll be criticizing a bit the dialogue. If we need a hub, or if we need a critical mass of peers, and if we don't have the right tools to fundraise, and if we don't have enough angels, so how come crowdfunding can be instrumental for the local scene?
See, first off, I would beg to disagree on the angels. Any angel network, Anil will also agree from the Hyderabad angel side, all angel networks are struggling to find good deals. There's one possible explanation that they're being too risk averse, and so even investable deals they're not investing in, but that's arguable. But that's true to some extent for sure, but it's also true that they're not finding good deals. So I think the proportion is to the, as a proportion, angels to the, as a proportion to the number of startups is what is relevant. As a country, unfortunately, we don't have too many entrepreneurs, tech entrepreneurs at least. And it's getting better. Like I said, just in the last 1 year in Hyderabad alone, there are about 10 seed funds that have started. So I think it's getting better. Our venture started 2 years back, which was not there 2 years back. And so it's coming. So I think that is, but the issue is not enough deals. And one problem, and the bigger problem which I see, like VCs struggle with getting good deals. Now VCs don't get good deals because like they are downstream to angels. Angels struggle to get good deals. Now VCs are not helping angel stage companies. Angels struggle for deals and they are not helping seed stage companies. And seed stage companies also kind of, the investors struggle for deals, but there is no hand-holding. Nobody is really hand-holding them in the early stages and making them investable. Now, and it's not going to magically happen. With the peer group, support group lacking, some form of like more easily available help is required, and I believe crowdfunding can provide that in the early days. And like and all our push towards the instant seed funding and pushing more seed funds to come, we are doing many things in the early stages, and it's because we believe that is where if you don't get good 100 early stage startups, you're not going to get those 50 seed funded and like 15 angel and 5 VC funded startups, and that's where the effort needs to go. If that starting point is good, then the rest will follow.
Yes, I don't agree with him, and I think no, I'll tell you, I have plenty of deals coming to me today. I am getting over 10 deals a day, 300 deals a month. I'm shortlisting around 8 deals a month today to be pushed out to my investors. My investors are hungry for deals, and I have mandates lined up for the next 3 months. I used to send out 1 mandate a month, a week. Now I'm pushing out 2 mandates a week. Mandate I sent out this Monday got closed on Friday. We raised 1.2 crores from external investors as well as my network together within 7 days. amazing company, so it could do it. Deals is not a problem. That's what I have seen being in the part of the ecosystem. There is a problem, no doubt, when it comes to, you know, as you mentioned, you know, the funnel where, you know, the accelerators will fuel to the seed network to the angel network to VC. The funnel today is inverted in India. There are too many VCs, too little angel networks or angels themselves. So, I mean, because of this disparity, I think the funnel needs to be inverted again. That's my issue. So I'm doing as much as I can today to help these mentors. I'm setting up our mentors, a mentor platform. There is also a go-to-market community that I'm creating to help mentors, the ones that are not capable of raising money because of some problem or two. You know, they are not able to raise money. They are not investor ready. So I'm trying to help them out. But to your point, I have not seen a problem with quality of deals. Quality of deals are plenty, and there is enough appetite. I need more angels to fund them. That's what in my opinion, is the scenario.
So to add to that, I actually agree with both of them. So
Very, very non-controversial. Very non-controversial.
that's what business taught me. So I'm part of Hyderabad Angels in addition to the other things. So the kind of deals that come out there have to be some sort of revenue making companies. So that's the risk averse. Probably that's the reason why they want to make sure that good deals are, we get some good exits. But however, we don't see much seed, much companies in the seed fund level. So there are a lot of companies who need like just 25 lakhs. But these angel networks, we were like close to about 500 people, I think, recognized angel networks, about 7+ or so. They don't write smaller checks. So there is a need in that area. So while deals are there, of course, we can debate what is a good deal. It's more the judgment, good deal. But yes, there are a lot of startups, a lot of ideas keep popping every day. But getting investors is actually a challenge. Because if you look at the 7 odd angel networks, which has about 500 base of angel investors, recognized ones, and then you have the VCs, and then you have the seed funds. What we're trying to do, I think that's what our ventures are also probably doing, is we're trying to build an angel investors. As per look at SEBI, an accredited investor has to meet some guidelines in that 66-page one, has to have like 10 lakhs net worth and all. So we're looking at opening it. Right now, to get into any angel network, you have to have some criteria, right? You have to do like ABC things. Only then, not everybody can come in. So, but however, we're trying to not dilute it, but sort of, that's where the crowdfunding comes. Anybody who meets the accredited investor can now be part of the platform, not necessarily set up by some networks which are geographically located and. So that's what we are looking at in getting the crowdfunding.
What are the concrete steps if crowdfunding can be instrumental?
Like I said, we've gone into the 10 lakh seed funding stage already in the city, and we're trying to push the support from the ecosystem. And so we already said we will do it every 3 months. Now, crowdfunding is an alternate to that, and we need more of it. Because it's limited by our time, how much time we can spend on it. So even if we get into a rhythm of doing it every 2 to 3 months, every 3 months, we're probably going to touch maybe 10 startups that can get funded. And so it's barely scratching the surface. If we, just in this city with the Hyderabad Angel Network today, more than half of the investments are from outside the city. Ideally, Hyderabad Angels would like it to be from within the city, being a network based here. Even to fund that appetite, or to feed that appetite, what Hyderabad Angels can fund, assuming 15-20 startups, we probably need to get like maybe at least 5 to 6 times that number seed funded, just to fund the Hyderabad Angels appetite. And so we need more and more crowdfunding, not in the 1 crore. I'm assuming a lot of the crowdfunding goes in that stage, the first formal money that they would get. So it's probably in the seed stage, in the 10 to 25 lakh in Indian terms, which is the seed stage here. And so I'm fully for it. We need it as soon as possible. We need it, but I don't know the regulatory framework. It's one thing to pre-order. I think it's good in India. Pre-order is fine, but investment, like Anil was just referring to, there are a lot of structural framework and constraints in terms of who can invest, just to prevent money laundering, which is unfortunately the downside of having a little bit more liberal investment regime. So I would think that is a problem that needs to be tackled. In terms of how, without pre-orders, how can you get structured investments? And when can crowdfunding become part of the same, like SEBI accepted regime that angel networks have finally got? After fighting for 2-3 years since originally the clause came, it is now recognized as a mechanism to register. And so I think that's one thing to target. And I do believe Hyderabad is the best place for early stage startups. And I think with government support, we should try and see if we can work out that framework here and get a formal kind of legally compliant framework for crowdfunding. I would think that should be something where we should start.
So while investors, I mean, on a platform Beehives, where investors can be from anywhere, but just to target the local Hyderabad ecosystem, we've been tying up with entrepreneurship cells at different colleges like BITS and all. So I mean, we would like to welcome the IIIT, Srini and all to maybe tie up with us, and then where we can help their companies or respective companies to get funded through the pool of investors that we are. Investors can be able to win, but this is what we have been doing.
So how do you go over the compliance requirement, the legal angle to it?
We do the matchmaking online, but deal making is offline.
Incredible stuff. That I totally believe seed funding, there has to be a proper mechanism to really fund seed stage companies, which is lacking. At our ventures at least, we set up India's first seed network. Angels, all right, the ticket size of 2 crores and above. I mean, companies should reach a particular level to get there. What about the companies that need 25 lakhs? What about the ones that need 50 lakhs for the proof of concept? So that's where our venture started a seed network. We closed our first deal 2 years ago, where the company was not even incorporated, and we just tagged along with the entrepreneur, his vision, because he had exited earlier. So you need that kind of quality entrepreneurs, no doubt, to be comfortable about funding at seed level. But just, besides that, and to include crowdfunding in it, I think the to test a proof of concept at the seed level, I think crowdfunding plays a pivotal role, where these micro angels can come together with angels and form and probably syndicate and cut off a ticket size of 25 odd lakhs to make sure we can test. Maybe it can be a reward-based platform as well, where if it is a product platform, and I'm sure a lot of crowdfunding platforms here are trying to create reward-based platforms. So, we can have multiple models around there. And in fact, one of my partners and investing companies, Catapult, will talk about what we are partnering with them to do when Satish talks about it in the next speech. But we are trying to create this 25 lakh ticket size through a hybrid funding, which will include crowdfunding as well as angels from our ventures coming together to invest.
And we're talking about tax benefits. We're talking about hybrid fund. You were talking about $100 million, if I understood correctly. Can we make it $500 million if we'll do it hybrid with the crowd, including tax benefits and of course regulation? Connecting to the diaspora, if I understand correctly, a potential connection to the diaspora can also encourage a peer support from abroad to the local startups. Market education, we spoke and we elaborated on the need of market education. Maybe the place of the government is to encourage the education both by entrepreneurs and micro angels. So there are lots to be done. I'd like to keep an open question, what can we do? Because asking the government is one thing, but I think that as a crowd, we can do hopefully much more together.